Hello, Love Wrestling. It is Thursday morning. It is 10 a.m., and y'all know what that means. It is, Firmly AEW. When we first started this thing, we were on Thursday mornings at 10 a.m.
Yes, we were.
This was the original time slot for our show, and then through a couple life changes and schedule changes, we ended up on Sundays for a while, but life be life, and things happen and things change. And we had, Sundays were becoming more difficult for us due to our life situation. So we said, hey, why don't we try getting back to our original time slot and see how Thursdays work for us? So we are back. We will be here on Thursday mornings, 10 a.m., right? The morning after Dynamite, to talk about all things AEW here on Firmly AEW. So we want to thank you guys for joining us here. We appreciate it. But before we start diving into a whole bunch of stuff we got to talk about, Drew, how are you doing today, my friend?
Doing really well. I already feel more, as I was telling you also, I feel more refreshed doing this on Thursday versus doing this on Sunday. So, yeah, it's I think we're gonna have it good here on Thursday mornings again. It's nice to be back at the original time slot.
I agree. I feel good about it. I feel, I think when we first started the show, we picked Thursdays for a reason. It was the morning after Dynamite. Everything was fresh, and there was just a bunch of stuff going on and things of that nature. So I do feel like moving back here will be a good thing for us, especially with, we love Collision. But Dynamite is the A show of AEW. Like, let's not kid around. And I think being on the morning after Dynamite, where it's fresh and things like that, I think will be a nice little transition for us to get back into this role. We got the boss man saying morning, homies. Good morning. Welcome in on this Thursday. But yeah, so Drew, I mean, we didn't have a show last week, so we really haven't gotten together and chatted on the airwaves since Double or Nothing. We don't, it's been a while since Double or Nothing has happened. We don't have to dive into a deep, review of everything. There's been enough people on enough websites that you can go find that stuff. But overall, what did you think of Double or Nothing? And then, obviously last week we had Will Ospreay become the number one contender for the AEW World Heavyweight title now, which we'll talk about. But just in general, how did you feel about Double or Nothing? And then we'll kind of talk about what else has happened before we start diving into this week's shows.
Well, I thought that Double or Nothing was very strong. It was a very strong pay-per-view. That was a really great pay-per-view. They really kicked it off right. I thought that I believe the first match was, what was it? It was Orange Cassidy and Trent Beretta, I believe.
No, was that it? Hold on, let me get the card up here. Was that the first match? Really? No, I thought they opened with Roddy and Will Ospreay.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I was gonna say no, it was a more banger match than that as the opener.
It was really, the whole show, just up and down, was excellent. Unfortunately, we ended up getting an injury on that show.
Yeah.
To a major player in the company. But then we got the return of a major player as well.
Which we're going to dive into big time because he also opened the show last night as well. So I feel like we're going to be talking about that big time because I feel like coming out of Double or Nothing, as good a show as it was, you know, like you said, every match was good. Will Ospreay crowned the new AEW International Champion. Mercedes Moné crowned the new AEW TBS Champion in her debut. Her and Willow had a fantastic match at Double or Nothing. Swerve and Christian, I really liked a lot. I knew Swerve was going to win, but I really liked that match a lot. Anarchy in the Arena was exactly that. It was anarchy. A guy was set on fire.
It was the best Anarchy in the Arena match yet.
I don't disagree. You had Tony Khan get involved. You had Darby with his flamethrower, light Jack Perry on fire. Then you had Jack Perry get the victory over Bryan Danielson.
As Darby was hung upside down atop from the ring.
Yeah, blood gushing out of his nose, just hanging upside down for like 10 minutes to the point where the crowd is chanting, "Someone save Darby" or "Please save Darby." It was a good show. I thought Tony Storm and Serena Deeb had a good wrestling match, which was really good. I'm going to be honest with you. Obviously, there was that spot that was scary as hell that led to the really bad injury with Adam Copeland, but I was enjoying the hell out of that barbed wire steel cage. That was one of my favorite matches of the night. And even afterwards, like they finished the match. He wrestled for 10 minutes or so after that whole thing happened, and the Gangrel looked incredible hitting those jumping DDTs. He looked so good.
It was back in the 90s.
And literally, he looked like he went in a time machine and was back in his prime. He looked incredible, that whole thing. And like the spot happens with Adam Copeland, and I think all of us were screamed. We were all like, "What are you doing? Landing on your feet. What are you, crazy?" But then he keeps wrestling for like 10 minutes, and it's like, oh, all right, maybe he's okay. Maybe we just dodged a gigantic bullet. Like, because he's wrestling and he's moving around and he's fine and he doesn't look bad. But then the end of the match happens, and then you start to see like the adrenaline wear off after the end of the match. And then all of a sudden he can barely walk. He needs Gangrel's help, and it's like, uh-oh.
Yep.
But I really enjoyed that match a lot as well. I thought Double or Nothing was just a solid. I mean, look at AEW does these things. You might not always feel 100% about the build or where they're going by the time they get there, but those shows, their pay-per-views, AEW, 9 out of 10, 9.8 out of 10, they usually knock them out of the park, man. They really do.
Absolutely. They really do. And all of the matches pretty much went the way that we thought they were going to. But I remembered saying I thought Trent was going to beat Orange Cassidy, and that didn't end up happening.
No,
but Trent did end up, as we predicted, the correct thing to do, joining the Don Callis family.
Agreed. Chris Statlander ended up turning on Willow after the match with Mercedes, which
and I thought they weren't going to do it that night.
I didn't think they were going to do it that night either. I thought they would have saved it for the Dynamite or Collision, but they did it right after, which I think made sense.
It did. Yeah.
Because we're going to talk about it. And again, Zach popping in the chat saying hi. Andy in the chat. Welcome in, gentlemen. We're about to talk about last night's Dynamite and stuff, but we're kind of recapping the last couple of weeks because it's been a little bit since we've been here. We love Willow. We love Willow around here, just like everybody loves Willow. But I saw a lot of people after that match really complaining that Willow lost. And I get it. Like, we root for Willow. Some of us like Willow more than we like Mercedes. That's perfectly fine. Willow's terrific. And I think Willow should be like the star of the division, like, as years go on. Like, she's one of those people that I think is like a standard bearer for the AEW women's division and should be for years to come. But if you went into that match thinking there was a chance that Willow was going to beat Mercedes Moné, you just had the wrong mindset going into that match.
Yeah, you really did.
You just had you have to understand the situation. It is the biggest signing in the history of the company in her debut match, going for a title as part of a triple main event on their biggest or second biggest show of the year. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think that outcome is going to be, Drew? And
well, we were saying too, like we knew and predicted that was going to happen. That
everybody should have.
How does Mercedes lose her first title match?
Yeah,
in the company.
Here's my thing, Drew. And I'm speaking as a Willow fan, right? Like, you have to look at some things in wrestling. You have to look at as like, okay, well, where does this lead to? And to me, Mercedes, she ain't going to be the TBS champion for long. Like, she's going to be the AEW women's heavyweight champion sooner than later. Most likely. That is the stratosphere that she belongs in. Okay? So they come in, they give her the TBS title. She's going to have it for a little bit. I don't think this is going to be some super duper long title reign, because I think she's going to go for the main title probably by the end of this year. I would guess to me, that feels even too long.
Well, we have Forbidden Door coming up at the end of the month.
Yeah.
And they are having, for both women, we found out last night, for both women, we're having title for title matches.
Yes, which is very cool.
Now, are both AEW champions going to take the New Japan Championship?
I think Mercedes is gonna.
Yeah,
I think Mercedes, because Mercedes would have won that belt from Willow the first time if she didn't hurt herself.
Right.
Or she would have won. She kept that belt, right? Willow won that from her or something. She would have kept that if she never got hurt. Willow wasn't going to beat her that first time. They had to make a quick decision because she ruined her ankle or whatever it was, But the way that I look at it, to kind of put a bow on the Willow thing, is like, Mercedes is going to go do her thing for a little bit as the TBS champion. Willow's got to resolve the story with Chris Statlander and Stokely and her ex-best friend turning on her. And we saw in the promo last night that Willow's been cutting some damn good promos lately. We saw in that promo last night, which we'll talk about more in depth here in a minute, where Willow said, "Hey, Mercedes, like, best, you beat me, cool, like, I'm brain farting on the word, but like, congratulations, but like, just so you know, there's a receipt coming soon, because we got to do this again, because I obviously, things that I had you pinned for like 7 or 8 seconds, and there was a distraction and all this stuff. So we got to resolve some stuff. And the way that I look at it is, let Mercedes wins the match. She's going to go be the champion for a few months. Willow is going to handle this side story with Statlander. And then guess what? When they fight again for the TBS championship, Willow's going to beat her. And when Willow beats her for that title, Willow's going to be an even bigger star than she is today. And I feel like a lot of people are like missing that point of it. And they're just focusing on how Mercedes didn't deserve to win the title in her first match, and she shouldn't have beat Willow because Willow's been there and all this stuff. And I'm like, you guys just got to look at it from a different mindset.
But
you just got to look at it from a different angle. Like, this is going to make Willow a bigger star 3-4 months down the road. Like, this is going to make her even bigger. And you're going to be more happy 3 months down the road than you are right now. You just got to understand that.
Yeah. A big problem with wrestling fans right now is that they're refusing to see the story being told in front of them and just want the thing that they want instead.
Yeah. And we're going to dive into it, because I saw some of this on a smaller level. I saw some of this rhetoric last night involving another match in the women's division that happened on Dynamite last night. And I saw some people just not understanding what is going on, and like and I get it. We live in a very, very right now, me, right now world. I need it right now. This is what I want, and I want it right now. I need it right now. I understand that's like how the world we live in a little bit. You got to, and I know this saying in wrestling can really, trigger some people, but you got to let it play out, Drew. You gotta let it play out sometimes. Like, again, we're gonna talk about it when we get to it in order, but I saw some conversation regarding around the finish of that Saraya Mariah May match where people were just completely missing the plot and completely missing what was happening literally in front of their eyes. Right in front of their eyes. And it is just, I don't understand it. I don't understand how some people have the opinions that they do. But, all right. Let's dive into this sucker. Let's dive into this sucker. Before, obviously, we had Double or Nothing, which we just kind of glossed over a little bit. Also, last week on Dynamite, the main event was a casino gauntlet match, which I really enjoyed the match itself. Like, I thought it was a very cool match. The way they did it, they had
that is a fun concept. I enjoyed that match a lot.
Yeah, and they had different people they had a couple CMLL guys there. They had a New Japan guy there. They had people from different. It was very cool. And it was to crown the number one contender for Swerve in the AEW World Heavyweight Championship for Forbidden Door. And the gentleman who won was one Will Ospreay, who had just become the new AEW International Champion at Double or Nothing. So now for Forbidden Door, the main event is AEW World Heavyweight Champion Swerve Strickland defending against AEW International Champion Will Ospreay. And that's obviously two contracted AEW wrestlers going against each other, whereas Forbidden Door is usually an AEW superstar versus another wrestler from a different company. That's usually how they do it.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feel now? I completely understand why Will Ospreay would be Will Ospreay is a guy to me that immediately he's a star of the company. That's how I view him. I think that's how the fans view him. Like, he has taken AEW by storm since he has shown up. Like, literally, just like every time he comes out, it's like, dude, that's the best guy. That's the best guy here. Like, the crowd is into it. His matches are insane. His promos are great. Like, that's the guy. So I understand wanting to hotshot him to a world title match, but I don't think it's too soon for me. Like, I know I saw some people saying it was too soon. Like, I don't think it's too soon to have Ospreay fight Swerve. I don't think it's too soon to have Ospreay fighting for an AEW World Heavyweight title. However, if you were going to do this, it just doesn't make sense to me that he would become the international champion 3 days earlier. Like, wouldn't it be more beneficial to your pay-per-view? Like, don't get me wrong. Huge match, dude. Swerve versus Will Ospreay is going to be an incredible match that I am going to enjoy thoroughly. But wouldn't the Forbidden Door card be stronger if both these guys were defending their titles separately against two guys from Japan or two guys from wherever instead of going against each other?
I don't mind it for a couple of reasons. For one, I like that not all titles are being thrown into the title for title New Japan whatever company type of a thing, because I think that kind of can book you into a corner a little bit.
Yep.
Where you want to Spencer, in this case, I don't believe it is title for title.
It's not. It's just worse.
It's just AEW World Championship. Yeah.
Yes.
Which you go, okay, so that's a title that's, an international title. You think probably that would be good to be defended by people in international companies, or be defended with international companies, because it is an international title. So but I feel like maybe they'll do a little bit. I hope. I mean, I don't have any insight on this, but I would hope that they at least do something different here, where they actually have Will Ospreay go to another company, an international company, and defend the title.
He said that he wants to. He wants to travel around and defend it everywhere, which he seems like the type of guy to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got Spencer asking if it was title for title, and he said, so it's basically exactly what WWE just did with Cody and Logan Paul. And I'm like, kind of. I'm like, they
yeah.
WWE built that as title versus title, though, and then they kind of figured out a way to get away from it. They AEW never built this as title for title, but it seems like a similar thing. Like, they're like, oh, we have this big pay-per-view. Let's just have two of our top guys, two champions, go after each other, which, again, I think it's perfectly fine. I think Will Ospreay deserves that spot without question. And it didn't shock me that he won that gauntlet match.
Well, yeah, because my other reason was him being in that gauntlet and winning that gauntlet so soon after winning the international title just shows how strong of a wrestler he is.
Yeah.
He's going to win a big match whenever he is put in it.
So is he going to win the AEW? So, and I know we have a little bit of time to go, and we will be previewing Forbidden Door when it comes to that at the end of the month. But right now, as we stand on June 6th, with like 3 weeks to go, 3.5 weeks to go with Forbidden Door, do you think he's going to win the AEW World Heavyweight Champion and be a double champion? How do they, or do you think Swerve gives him his first loss? Because he has not lost yet in AEW. Oh, did he lose by DQ maybe? I don't know. But he hasn't had his first pinfall or loss yet in AEW, Will Ospreay. He's been pretty much untouchable since he's joined there. But now he's in a situation where you have a red-hot champion in Swerve who just got this belt, who I don't think should lose it yet, going against a guy who's even more red-hot than Swerve, who I don't think... That's kind of where I'm at here. It's like, I'm not one of those people that's like, Will Ospreay can't lose. In my opinion, Will Ospreay should lose to Swerve. He should.
I agree.
But the way they are treating Will Ospreay, it doesn't seem like he's going to lose to Swerve. So that's kind of...
I think there might be some shenanigans.
The Don Callis stuff still, kind of, maybe.
Yeah. I'm thinking
I'm just trying to, and we got a few weeks until we get there and we super duper dive into what we think is going to happen. But looking at it at the surface, I'm just like, okay, well, now you put yourself in a situation where you have two guys that probably shouldn't be losing where they currently are on your TV landscape, and one of them has to. But
the thing is that this is what we were just saying with Willow and Mercedes. People were complaining about Willow losing, but the story was there. The story for that match was all this time Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway have been plotting against her.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to be the reason that they lose the match, that she loses the match.
Yeah, Spencer Stanley switched to the personal account. I love it. I love it. I love it.
Your door just like swung open and closed by itself. How the hell?
No, Lou. That's Lou. Lou has the power. Lou has the power.
Powers.
Yeah, he just opens the door whenever he's like, my turn. Just comes right in there.
Even closes the damn door too.
Yeah, he does. Insane. He's insane. Yeah, he's just like, yeah. What happens is he gets up on his two toes and pushes the door open with his front, and then when it opens, it usually starts to swing, and he literally kicks it with his back leg.
Insane.
So yeah,
I mean that's some talent, right?
I have a plate of treats over there because I know he likes to come in. So now I'm gonna open the door for him so he can leave because he just came in to have some treats and he's like, piss off. I'm out of here. I don't care about you. I don't care about you.
The story with that match was that Willow was going to lose because Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway are plotting against her.
Mm-hmm.
So the story for Will Ospreay and Swerve should be Don Callis is plotting against Will Ospreay because he hasn't been listening to him and doing the move that he wants him to do. You know, it's all intertwined with each other.
Yeah.
He stopped doing the Tiger Driver because of the Danielson spot, which was, as we now know, not an actual injury.
Yeah.
It was planned.
Mm-hmm.
It was to further this story. He is not doing the Tiger Driver spot. Don Callis wants him to do the Tiger Driver spot.
And we saw during Double or Nothing, we saw at one point Don Callis get into the ring during that match and get in Ospreay's face and say, hey, do you want to win a championship? Do you want to succeed? Then you need to get out of your own head and you need to put this guy away. Put this guy away. Now, Will Ospreay ended up winning that match without doing the Tiger Driver and still won the title. But Don Callis did not look pleased. Even though his guy won the title and he was like, yeah. But Callis was yelling at him. And I think that's the way you do it, is I think you get a hard-fought match between these two for the title. And at one point, Ospreay's going to have a chance to beat Swerve, and he's going to be contemplating doing the Tiger Driver, and Don Callis is going to be either in the ring at ringside or on but he's going to be somewhere yelling, this is for a world championship. You better do this move to win this world championship. And Will Ospreay is not going to do the move, and that's going to cost Will Ospreay that match. And then Don Callis is going to be like, you're not a part of it. And it's going to break down because Don Callis is going to be like, you don't have what it takes to be a top guy because you don't have that. And I think that's kind of,
what may happen is that he will do the move and it won't work out for him.
Maybe.
Or like he's going to go do the move and Swerve is going to counter it.
Yeah, and he loses. Something's going to happen where a Tiger Driver is going to need to be done for Ospreay to win, or that's how we're going to view it. And something's going to go haywire. Either he's going to go for it and Swerve reverses it and beats him, or he ends up it looks like he's going to go for it, but mentally he doesn't. And then he ends up losing because of it. I just think that's the way you do it. And then that leads to Callis either
factor into it.
Exactly attacking him and the family, attacking him after the match, or the next night on Dynamite or the next whatever. Don Callis is like, this has been a couple months in a row now. I don't think you have what it takes anymore. You care more about what people think about you and being a good guy than being a champion. And I can't have people like that.
The other thing too is that we've also seen the seeds of this planted even right when Will won the match to go for the international title, because Don Callis wanted him to do the Tiger Driver spot for that match.
Yep.
He didn't do the Tiger Driver spot for that match. He won the match anyway. And in the back, he was still berating Will Ospreay for not doing the spot.
Yep.
And Kyle Fletcher was there like, yo, chill.
Yeah, relax.
He won the match.
Yeah, literally has the belt right in front of you.
It's not about, for Don Callis, it's not about winning the match.
No, it's about
listening to Don Callis.
Yes, exactly. It's about listening to me. Oh, you won it on your own? Great. Well, I told you to win it this way, and you didn't. So, and I think that ultimately that's how that match with Swerve probably, as we get closer, I think it'll be ironed out for us a little bit here. But, yeah, I just wanted your opinion on that because there was a lot of discourse of like, already? Or like champion versus champion? Why? And all this stuff. And I kind of, at first, I was like, huh.
And you know what? I'm a little bit biased because I'm going to go to Forbidden Door and I'm going to see that fucking match and fuck all of you.
Okay? Hey, it's fair. It's fair. It's fair. If I was going, I'd be excited about it. And I'm excited to see the match. Dude, the match is going to be insane. Like, I'm not, I think it's a fair question to ask because there are some reports or we've read some things recently that like, there's not a long, like, even though it feels like when we watch the shows, there's some long-term booking, I've read some reports that like Tony's kind of winging it more than he used to. And they don't always know what's going on in Dynamite and Collision weeks in advance like they used to. And a lot of it is on the fly.
Yeah, some of it, well, you can tell that kind of like, we used to get like week in advance.
Do you remember Excalibur at the end of every Dynamite? He would for like I'm exaggerating, but like for like 3 to 5 minutes would be running off matches that were happening for the next week and a half or 2 weeks. We don't get that anymore.
Fun of for it.
yeah, but we don't get that anymore because I don't think they're booking that way anymore. I feel like when AEW started, and for the first good chunk of it, Tony Khan had stories planned for years. Hangman winning the title was planned before the company even started. Like he had that ironed out already. How we were getting there years in advance. And I feel, and obviously as your company grows and you get a bigger roster, like that's unrealistic to think this guy's going to be doing it that way the whole time AEW is a company. But
Probably
at the same
also
time,
factoring in like injuries and stuff.
yeah, you gotta switch stuff on the fly and stuff like that as well. But I do some of the reports that I've read, and these are reputable people saying this stuff too. I don't just believe everybody. I'm not one of those people, but these are reputable reports from people. Sullivan popping in saying this isn't Sunday. We went back. Today is the first day we are back to our original time slot. We will be here every Thursday, 10 a.m. moving forward, the night after Dynamite, the morning after Dynamite. We originally started here. We moved to Sundays. Then life happened again. Now we're back on Thursday, Sully. So hopefully we'll be seeing you popping in here like today. All right. Anyway, let's dive into Dynamite. It's already been a half hour. We haven't even dived into Dynamite yet, but that's good discussion. It's good discussion. I like it. Well, you said MJF. That was to me, that was the biggest story coming out of Double or Nothing is MJF returning. Sorely missed. I missed him a lot. I think the show missed him a lot. The return at Double or Nothing was great. Adam Cole came out, said that he still is not 100% healthy, but once he is healthy, he's coming back to run the company. He's going to be champion, blah, blah, blah. And the lights went out. We got a little video from a camera walking into a room. We see the suit. We see the scarf. And then MJF's music hits at Double or Nothing. And he comes out and he's not wearing a suit and scarf. He's wearing he's paying homage to Triple H. And Triple H's return in 2002 when he came back, he had the big bulky double denim jean jacket that Triple H wore.
The leather,
nice little callback from MJF there. I like
it was really good. It was like a leather vest with a jean.
Yeah, it was like a leather vest with like a big jean jacket over it. It basically was like a toned down version of what if you ever go back and watch the 2002, I believe it was in Madison Square Garden, the return of Triple H, one of the all-time great returns from injury. He's obviously jacked to the gills. Triple H, he came back bigger than ever, but he is wearing the most oversized jean jacket you will ever see in that return. And MJF was kind of playing around with that. I bet you Triple H probably didn't watch that return, but I bet you if somebody showed it to him, Triple H would have left. Triple H would have cackled a little bit. He would have been like, that's good stuff. But yeah, so Dynamite last night opens with the return to Dynamite of MJF. He comes out, he cracks a little joke and he says, hey, if my eyes are bloodshot, we're in Colorado, baby.
Yeah.
So he cuts that little joke, getting everybody feeling good. He said he's back to put everybody on notice, Drew. He's rocking some new merch. He points that out, but he says, I'm back to put everybody on notice. He said, I was out nursing my wounds on his beautiful couch, watching a bunch of children make bold claims on his show, he said. And then he starts going in on people, Drew. So he goes, you got one guy saying he's the Rainmaker. I wrote all my notes here. He goes, when it looks like he can't even afford a gym membership. That's what he said about Okada. Then so Okada's a bad guy, Triple Crown champion, heel. MJF is coming back. He keeps on saying he's the old MJF, but he's still a baby. He's still playing the baby face MJF currently. You know what I mean? Kind of. He's in the middle.
I would say definitely not full-on babyface like he was before he left.
No, but the crowd is still treating him that way, and he's still playing up to it. Like he's still Sullivan, Ryan, I'm right there with you, bro. If Okada's out of shape, what the hell am I?
Yeah.
What the hell am I?
That again.
But so he goes in on Okada, and Okada's a heel. I get it. Part of the elite. I get it. But then the next two guys that he goes after are Swerve and Will Ospreay. So he goes after Swerve. He goes, we got a guy swerving around claiming he's the leader of the Mogul Embassy when his whole team when he got turned on by everybody else in the group. So he goes after that. And he goes, he wants to call himself a business mogul when he didn't go to business school, or if he did, he skipped his public speaking courses. That's what he says about Swerve.
Yeah. The Swerve part of this, I was like 50-50 on.
Yeah. But they had a little, when MJF was still around, they crossed paths in the back on purpose. They kind of had a couple segments in the back, like at least one where they chatted with each other when they knew kind of Swerve was on the ascent when MJF was champion still.
Yeah.
They crossed paths in the back, kind of like teasing down the line, Then he goes after Will Ospreay.
He healed the hell out of Will Ospreay.
He sure did. And I want to know. I want to know how you feel about this. But he said, but the most egregious claim was from a Cockney cockhead, is what he called him. Running around saying he's the best in the world, bruv. So he goes, and then he mentions other people's. He said, last time he checked, he said he's referring to Will Ospreay right now. He goes, last time he checked, he ain't Chris Jericho, he ain't Jon Moxley, or Bryan Danielson, or Cody Rhodes, or Samoa Joe, or Adam Cole, or Hiroshi Tanahashi, who MJF has beaten all those people. He goes, he tells Will Ospreay he says, check your mouth before you run it the next time. Wait, hold on, I wrote my notes, but he goes, he tells Will Ospreay to check his mouth before he runs it the next time because the guy he says he is, referring to himself, in 5 short years became the face of AEW from the most hated man on the planet to the most beloved, and that didn't happen by accident. And that's how he finishes before Roosh comes out and they kind of do the second half of this interview. So how'd you feel about it in general? I thought it was very MJF. I thought it was really good, but how'd you feel about the Ospreay stuff?
So in general, I loved it because I missed this so much. This really was sorely missed, honestly.
Oh, big time.
The Swerve, the being the baby face for the calling out Okada, fine.
Swerve the champ.
Swerve the champ part, I was like, I don't know if. I mean, I think he speaks great. I think he's a great.
Yeah, I have no problem with the way Swerve cuts promo. Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
I feel like that's kind of if anything, that might be a online criticism of his from certain talking heads.
Fair.
Because I don't see that personally. I think he's a great public speaker. The Will Ospreay part of this was like, holy shit, MJF, are you back or what?
Yeah. And look, if you're telling me if we're getting MJF and Will Ospreay soon, God bless. Like, let's go. But Will Ospreay is pretty much the most over babyface on the roster. And now MJF comes back, who was easily the most over babyface on the roster before he left. So I found it to be very MJF, but I found it to be kind of like, oh, he's going after everybody. Good guys, bad guys, it don't matter.
He said in the Double or Nothing promo that he was not going to be, September to December MJF anymore. He was not going to be doing the kangaroo kicks and all the stupid shit. I mean, the thing that I thought that, like, shedding that persona, I think, really was the best way for him to return, because we didn't even really talk about his Double or Nothing promo.
No, not really. It was a good one.
He took the devil mask, spit on it, and threw it out. He called it it was a cowardice to wear a mask. He
said he didn't know who he was when he was doing it, and now he knows who he am.
He was burying the devil gimmick, honestly.
Oh yeah.
And and my favorite, of course, everyone's favorite line from that promo, unlike Adam Cole and all his all the marks in the back, whatever he called them, he doesn't need a New Japan or a Vince McMahon.
Yes.
To make them, because MJF made MJF. What a line that was.
It was fantastic.
But yeah, like he said in that promo, I'm going to be the old MJF. And this was the old MJF last night.
It sure was.
100%.
It sure was.
So it's not a surprise that he came out and cut this promo, but man, it's just not something that we've heard from him for a while. Not just because he wasn't on TV, but even when he was on TV and they were doing the Adam Cole stuff, he was playing up like uber babyface, you know, friendship, love, and peace, and all this stuff. Like he was just pure babyface, which is what I remember from back then. I was saying, like, this is what MJF should be.
Yeah.
This is absolutely what MJF should be. But because of what happened, he needed to come back this way.
Yep. I agree.
And so the Will Ospreay part of this is like, ooh, inject that match into my veins right now.
Yeah. Yeah. We got Cecil in the chat saying, I low-key love the idea of him being, quote, I'm going to be August MJF, and people screaming in fear. Yeah. I mean, I think the way that they've done it so far with him shedding that character that we saw him become due to Adam Cole and stuff like that, like, I think they've done a really good job about it. And it is very MJF for him to come out and just be like, I don't care who you are. Like, I'm coming, everybody's on notice. I'm coming after and talking crap about all the big guys because I don't care. Because his whole character was built on him being better than everybody. So him attacking everybody, it fits in with the character, you know?
But then Roosh comes out.
Yeah. So then we get Roosh. And Roosh comes out. He says, he goes, like these other stupid, filthy Americans, you never shut up. And I'm just like, okay, we're going to go the foreigner hates America route. Is that what we're going to do here? But he goes, while he's been gone, while MJF's been gone, Roosh has been working hard and winning. And he goes, but now he comes back. MJF comes back and gets this big celebration. He goes, where was my celebration? Where was Roosh's celebration? And he said, when you mess with the bull, you get the horns. And then MJF comes back at him and he goes, things were bad when Tony was around. He goes, but under the elite, things are even worse. He goes, I think they got Brandon Cutler in the truck. That was the line. He says, I got Brandon Cutler in the truck. He goes, I couldn't hear you, Roosh. Say that again. And then MJF, the line that he said here, he goes, it doesn't matter. He goes, your bank account is dry like every woman you've ever slept with. So that was the
listen.
The real
Roosh is an attractive man. So
hey, I'm just quoting what MJF said. These are not my beliefs.
MJF, you gotta calm down with that language.
Yeah, and then MJF gets a little serious, and he says, "Look, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that I don't know who you are. Not too long ago, I paid you a very good amount of money to take out Bryan Danielson. I know who you are. I know your family. I know the lineage you come from. I know you are very good." He does crack a little joke about him being a Nepo baby because his dad was a famous wrestler and stuff like that. But he said, he became the Ring of Honor World Champion immediately when he came over. So he's kind of hyping him up a little bit, saying like, I know how good you are. I know how good you are. But he goes, but the problem is you might be one of the best, but the guy who you're looking at and the guy who's talking to you right now, I am the best. And I am Maxwell Jake. He goes, but out of respect, love, and admiration for Roosh, he goes, he's going to tell him how being interrupted felt. And he drops his catchphrase in Spanish, MJF. So he talks to Roosh and he goes, I'm going to say it so everybody can understand it. And he says, I think what he said was, listen, I'm not a perfect Spanish understanding or speaking person, but I'm pretty sure he said his catchphrase, I'm MJF and I'm better than you and you know it in Spanish to Roosh.
Yeah. Now this part I really loved because this was a new MJF for sure. He was not really like the thing that I always call back to when it comes to like an MJF feud with a less established guy on American television is the Takeshita little spat that he had with Takeshita. Yeah, when he was doing that like really, really awful shit. Was like,
and that was like that was still when MJF was like heel. He was
Well, yeah, he was a heel, so like he was doing the heel thing. But
Yeah,
it wasn't doing wonders for his opponent
no.
like this one did.
Yeah, this one I think if you didn't know who Roosh was, or you don't know much about Roosh, but you're a big MJF guy, when MJF started leaning in and like talking about Roosh's accomplishments and talking about like how he respects Roosh and stuff like that, like all jokes aside, I think that did a really, really good job for Roosh. Big time.
Yeah. Now, what needs to also happen, and this is something that I need to address AEW crowds with. Listen, leave the what chance to WWE.
I was gonna say that's just a wrestling thing now, I feel like, unfortunately.
It just sounds weird to hear what chance in AEW. It really does. I don't like it. I would never what chant in on an AEW show because it's just not. It doesn't feel right. You
Agreed.
know, like, and what chance I think
I mean,
make
I'm gonna come.
more sense. The what chance to a foreign heel
I was
make as
literally
much
just gonna.
sense
Yeah,
to as USA chance. Like, just
I
stop.
was literally just gonna come out and I was gonna say, listen, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. If you're doing what chance to a guy that is a foreign wrestler where English is clearly not his first language, you come off as a piece of shit.
Yeah, you do.
You come off as a piece
Really,
of shit.
yeah.
So cut it out. How about that? How about you just cut it out? The what chants they're annoying no matter what aspect. They're annoying in WWE. They're annoying here. But like,
Well, I think
you're
that
an
they
adult.
work
You understand. They do work. They do. I'm not going to
in a
say
certain scenario. It works.
correct. I'm not going to say that I think they should disappear. I do think that fans should relax. You don't have to say them every fucking promo. There are certain people that are above the what chants, and you should respect them as so. But to me, like, they fit in a certain level. But like, if there's a foreign wrestler out there, heel or big, it doesn't matter. If there's a foreign wrestler out there where you know and you can tell that English is not their first language, but they're cutting a promo in English and do it. Roosh can cut a good promo in English. He's fine. He's more than fine. And you're doing what chance? You're not being funny. You look like a racist piece of shit. So cut it out. I'll say it. Was that brunt enough for me?
It was
True. Okay. I don't want to beat around the bush, but that's how I feel about it. Like, cut it out. This led to a brawl. Roosh gets in the ring. Him and MJF brawl. Security, Christopher Daniels, they all hit the ring. They break them apart. And that's how this first segment ends. And then after that, so to me, it seems like, hey, MJF is back. His return match, which he's obviously going to win, we're going to throw him in there with Roosh. He'll have a good match. Roosh is somebody that we've, Roosh has been treated well since he's been with the company. He's won more matches than he's lost, I feel like. And I feel like this is a really nice, easy return match for MJF where you get a viable opponent. It's going to be a good match, but MJF's going to win. And no harm, no foul kind of thing. Before we get to the next thing that MJF is doing, right? Oh, Drew,
Yeah,
are you there?
so.
Did we lose you? Okay. Yeah.
No. Yeah, I was listening to you. Yeah, I mean, Roosh is not going to win, obviously. But he, I said, like, this new MJF made Roosh look incredible just with this one promo to where he's not going to look bad in the loss.
Yeah. Agreed. I agree. And I think it's a nice little, to me, it's a perfect type of return opponent for MJF. That's how I view it. Because you're not going to throw him in there right away with Adam Cole. You're not going to throw him right in there right away with Swerve or Ospreay. Like, he's going to have a return match or a mini feud until he gets more in the middle of what's going on. And I feel like Roosh is kind of one of like the guys on the roster that is kind of really perfect for this type of role here. We then saw a hype video for Roderick Strong. I love this. I thought
this was so good.
I thought this was well done. I thought the comedic timing and some of it was amazing. But it was, it was kind of like half serious, half kidding around, but I thought it was great, and it made Roderick Strong look like a beast because he is. But I love this, Drew. I love this little hype reel they had here for Roderick Strong.
Yeah, it was really good. I wonder where they shot that.
Yeah, it looks like they they went somewhere where he was outdoors working out, kind of running around, training, or I don't know, but it was really well done.
There's like a really good hike. I don't remember the name of it, but there's like a really good hiking place in California where you can go up to the mountains and see the whole California. I think it's the LA like strip, and it's like a really good vantage.
Well, they were in LA last week, right? That's where Dynamite was at the Forum, right? Was that where they were? I feel like they were in LA for Dynamite last week, so maybe they filmed it while they were there.
That's right. Yeah, they probably did film that last week.
Yeah. So I feel like that's where they were last week in Vegas for Double or Nothing. So they were kind of in the area, so they probably found. But I thought it was very cool. I thought it was a very well laid out vignette. And again, I liked how they kept some of the humor in there with the Kingdom and Roddy, because that is definitely part of their characters. We then had a fatal. No, I'm not going to say it. We had a four-way. We had a four-way match to determine the number one contender for the AEW International Championship. The participants were Jay Lethal, Kyle O'Reilly, Orange Cassidy, and Ray Phoenix. This match was a lot of fun, as you would expect. They were going back and forth. Phoenix and Cassidy got into it at the beginning, which was very cool. And this was a lot of back and forth with these four gentlemen. At the end, Ray Phoenix gets the pinfall victory. He wins with a small package on Jay Lethal. So Ray Phoenix is the number one contender for the AEW International Championship. And Will Ospreay versus Ray Phoenix. Are you shitting me, Drew? Are you shitting me? The stuff that's going to happen in that match. Good Lord.
My God.
Good Lord.
Yeah. I cannot wait for that. That's going to be special. That is
my word.
Special.
See, so now, again, this is not me complaining that Swerve and Ospreay are going to be fighting at Forbidden Door. But I would rather Ospreay be fighting Ray Phoenix at Forbidden Door and Swerve fighting somebody else. Am I crazy?
Who's Swerve going to fight, though?
I don't know. Naito? Tanahashi? Anybody?
Listen, not for nothing, but when it comes to some of the criticisms of all the people from New Japan and CMLL just like coming in and we're like kind of not expected to know who they are, because I think that criticism isn't fair. But I really don't know most of the people that they bring in from New Japan or CMLL, so I'm just like watching the matches and going, "Oh, well, this is a really good match. This is a really good wrestler," but I really don't know, or frankly, really care that much not because of the wrestling, but just because I know that these people aren't going to win the matches. It's going to be the AEW person that wins the match. Because that's like literally what happens every single time. Also, it's proved by another match that happened on this show that we can talk about soon. An 8-man match that with CMLL guys versus AEW guys, and the AEW guys won. So it's just like, listen, it's fun to watch because I'm seeing people that I've not seen before, but I'm not going to seek those people out after.
That's fair.
And, like MJF's whole shtick of like trashing New Japan, even though there's a working relationship between AEW and New Japan, is funny to me, but it's also like, I don't necessarily disagree with everything that he says.
Yeah, no, it's fair. It's fair. We got Bonkers LFC in the chat saying Ospreay wins, Danielson wins, all in. Ospreay loses his first match. You would have Ospreay lose his first match in England in front of his home country. I think he loses before that. I think he needs to lose before that.
Well, he's going to lose that.
I think he's going to lose at Forbidden Door. I think Swerve's going to beat him. One way or the other. I think that's his first loss is to Swerve. Even if it's I don't know if his first loss, I'm not saying he has to win in England, but I don't know if his first loss would happen in England in front of his people. That would be.
Yeah, I don't think so.
For the heat, I would love it, but that'd be a lot.
How WWE of you.
Yeah. Do you have something to say before we go to kind of the post-match stuff that happened here after this?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say post-match, Trent Beretta and Don Callis make their way to the ring. And they are starting crap with Orange Cassidy. Cassidy gets back on his feet. But Trent kind of leaves, but Chris Statlander shows up. We're going to talk about this, Zach, in just a few minutes.
Don't address that.
I know Drew probably has some stuff to say about this because he's been waiting for it.
Do not address that yet.
No, you're good. You're good, Zach. So Cassidy gets back on his feet, expecting to fight Trent, but Trent's not in the ring. Chris Statlander is. And Stokely's coming down the rampway, and he has a mic, and he just says that Statlander's going to knock you into next week, you piece of trash. And Statlander literally just punches Orange Cassidy across the face. And they start taking out one. Yeah, it was a good punch. Gives it to him, sorry. They start taking him out, and Willow Nightingale runs down to run them off and make the save. So Willow Nightingale and Orange Cassidy are kind of together there in the ring. And that's how this segment ends with Willow Nightingale kind of running off Statlander and Trent. Well, you think we might get a mixed tag here at some point?
Oh,
OC and Willow versus Trent and Chris Statlander. I feel like that would be a fun little mixed tag to do. Yeah, that should happen, I think.
Because there's been rumors also of potentially mixed tag championships.
I mean, I like a good mixed tag. I think you would have to establish that more as a thing before you do that. But I love a good mixed tag. I love a good mixed tag.
I think that would be a really fun mixed tag.
Yeah, and then
two former best friends.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Trent and Statlander. Trent and Statlander kind of back together, but on the dark side of things. And then you have Willow, who was always kind of friendly with the best friends for the most part, her and Orange Cassidy, because there's something that happened before that, but later on, a couple segments later, which we kind of addressed earlier, but Willow had a backstage interview with Renee, in which she said, she's got to face the facts. She lost to Mercedes. She says, congratulations, but they have a score to settle after, she had Mercedes pinned on the mat for a good 7 or 8 seconds. But she says she has other things to deal with first, her best friend, Chris, and what she did, and Stokely and all that stuff. And the part of this promo that I really liked with Willow is she goes, I always look at my smile, and I know I talk about my smile, and I always say that I'm driven by my smile. She goes, but after being stabbed in the back, you all don't know how dangerous I can be. And then Orange Cassidy kind of walked into frame and gave her the lazy fist bump, and she smiled, and that's kind of how
that would be a really fun mixed tag.
Yeah,
sure.
I think it would be too. I think Willow, we talked about Willow a good amount, so we don't have to stay on it too long. But these promos that they've let her do leading into the Mercedes match and this, I think she's been killing it. I love this promo. I love her talking about her smile. Like, hey, I said this is a strength of mine, but after what happened to me and getting my back, getting turned on and stabbed in the back, like, just because I have this smile does not, like, you guys have no idea how scary and dangerous I can be.
She is so relatable.
Unbelievable. Truly.
Like, she embodies being used as a doormat just because you're a nice person.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what this character is, because we've all been there. We've all been there where we want to be the nice person, or we're trying to help somebody or do this, and you're a little bit too nice, or the person that you're trying to help kind of uses that to their advantage and takes advantage. And we've all been there. So it is very relatable to most people, Yeah. Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff with Willow. Then we get Chris Jericho, Drew.
Oh my God.
We'll kind of wrap this all into one thing. We don't have to spread it out, but he had like 2 or 3 segments throughout the show.
He had like 4 segments.
Was it 4?
I think it was 4.
Okay, it's all out back. But he arrives to the arena and he's talking like this the whole time, Drew. Talking loud and right in people's ears, very, very loud. Hi, guys. He's talking like that. He arrives to the arena. He's with Big Bill. He's with Brian Keith, which, let me tell you, Brian Keith was the star of these segments. Brian Keith was the star of these segments last night. He was friggin' hilarious during all of these. So they show up, they go into the building later on in the night. I'm trying to find them.
And so Chris Jericho gets out of the SUV. Yeah. And he's just waving, hi guys, yelling. And there's only like 5 people out there.
He's yeah. Then later on, they're in the back. He's talking to Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Ange. And he's basically like, see, you guys were under the learning tree, and now look at all your success. Daddy Magic, you're the new main voice of Rampage commentary. Cool Hand, you got a new wife, baby on the way. And it's just like, he's just going off, and they're looking at him like, what the hell are you talking about? He leaves, and Brian Keith is last. And Brian Keith goes right to Cool Hand Ange, and he goes, you better make sure that baby respects Chris Jericho. And he leaves. Oh, made me laugh. I was laughing my ass off. I was like, this is so, Brian Keith was so good. I'm trying to see. There's at one point they were like with the cameraman, and Jericho was like, that's not how you do that with the camera. It's being
Larry
shaky.
Or Lonnie.
Yeah, Lonnie or Larry. They were using some ridiculous name, and he's like, come here. And Jericho takes the camera. And he's like showing the camera on Big Bill and Brian Keith. And they're like, And then Brian Keith is like, you're disrespecting Chris Jericho with that shaky camera. Oh, man. Brian Keith was fucking excellent.
It was so
funny. Corey, I would agree. Big Bill was very good in these segments too. I will agree.
Yeah, because he's adopting that same personality of the yelling and the over-the-top happiness and just... It's so great.
It's very good. It's very good. Like Jericho is being that over the top, like Jesus Christ, this is annoying type guy, but the other 2 guys are really the stars of the show. Like they're really
Big Bill is mirroring Chris Jericho, but Brian Keith is being the opposite. He's being the mean one,
the mean enforcer. Like you better be doing this or it's over for you.
You'd think that would be Big Bill's role.
Yes, exactly. Very
good. So good. It's
very good.
It's so funny how look in my other show, Roundtable, I have my friend Sunday Sinner, who last night he was saying that he hates this.
It's fair,
but he is the only one out of everyone on the show that hates it. And it's funny because this is getting over.
Oh, yeah.
You can see it.
Yeah.
And there were literally 4, maybe even 5 segments. Like, because they did the showing up in the SUV. That was the first one.
Then there was the cameraman one.
And there was the cameraman.
Then there was the
guy. No. There was the guy. He was scooping the food at catering. He was.
Oh, that's right. And he goes, "This is how you do it. You go from top to bottom, and you do that." Like, come on, Larry, or whatever he called him, whatever his name was. He's like teaching about to scoop food into a bowl at catering.
Everyone how to do anything. He's teaching the cameraman how to do the camera. He's teaching a guy how to scoop at catering. He's teaching. So then he gets the Daddy Magic and Cool Ange. And then Private Party.
Oh, yes, the Private Party one as well. Yes. And even Private Party was like, hey, man, we respect you. Like you helped us out a lot, but like, you're not our vibe anymore. And Jericho's like, and then Brian Keith just looking angrily at everybody. Tremendous. It's really tremendous stuff.
And they invited Private Party onto TV Time, which debuted after Double or Nothing. with a cardboard tree in the ring
yeah,
and a screen, and it looks ridiculous, but it's hilarious.
yeah, very,
And he
very good.
called, and then the other thing too, when Brian Keith debuted on TV Time and revealed to be the newest member of the Learning Tree,
Mm-hmm.
he called Brian Keith the Bad Apple.
Yep, he did. He did.
It's so good. It's
Mm-hmm.
so good. And what Corey said, toxic positivity.
Yep.
It's exactly what it is.
Yep. And I love during the private party segment when private party respectfully, and they really tried respectfully to turn Jericho down. Brian Keith just starts yelling. He's like, disrespect. And Big Bill has to like hold him back and stuff. And man. It was good stuff. It was good stuff. We then had Christopher Daniels, Drew. So last week, it was revealed that Tony Khan hired back Christopher Daniels to be his interim. Is it an interim role? Interim
Yeah.
executive vice president. So he's going to be doing the talking for Tony so Tony can not put his life in danger, I guess, from the Elite.
Yes.
And he announced that due to Adam Copeland's injury, they're going to be having qualifying matches, and it's going to lead to a multi-person ladder match at Forbidden Door to crown the new TNT champion. So he comes out and he says that they're going to have a qualifying match right now. And that qualifying match is Brian Cage going against the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion, Mark Briscoe. Drew, first of all, if you don't like Mark Briscoe, I don't know what to tell you.
You are not a human being if you don't.
I literally just don't know what to tell you if you are not a Mark Briscoe fan. I find it very hard to not like that guy. However, with that being said, I didn't think he had a chance in hell to win this match, and I thought Brian Cage should have won.
Oh, really?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Now, again, love me some Mark Briscoe. Love the fact that he's going to be in the match. Not upset about that at all. Mark Briscoe is the Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion. Brian Cage is nothing. And he just did this angle where he led the troops to turn on Swerve. When is Brian Cage going to win a big match in AEW, Drew? Because I'm still waiting for it.
Well,
and I feel like he could have won this match, and he could have done some really cool shit in that ladder match. Not saying he had to win it. And to me, it just made more sense for an AEW guy like Brian Cage to win this match. And then you can have your Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Champion actually be on the Ring of Honor television shows, because he fucking isn't. You know how many times he's wrestled on Ring of Honor since he won that belt, Drew? 0. But he's winning matches to qualify for mid-card titles in AEW. Why? And again, this is not a dislike thing to Mark Briscoe. I very much like Mark Briscoe. But why does this make sense?
Well, it doesn't. That's the point. It doesn't make sense. But here's my thing. Brian Cage, I think this served two stories here. One is Brian Cage needs the Cage of Agony, as they're now called.
Yes. That was another thing why I thought he should win, because now he's like the leader of this group. Now they're called the Cage of Agony. They've been presenting him as like, they've been presenting Brian Cage more, which is a good thing.
They have, yes.
Which is a good thing. He's not going to win the ladder match. Why not? Well, I don't know. To me, I was like, oh, this is not a no-brainer, but I'm like, oh, Brian Cage will win this and he'll be in the ladder match and he'll lose the ladder match. And then Mark Briscoe won. And again, not upset by it, but I was just like, huh? What? It just didn't make sense to me. I don't know.
I think that it serves two things. One, Brian Cage needs help to win, which I feel like, does Brian Cage need that? No, but that's like a wrestling heel trope.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the leader of the group always has to. I mean, come on, that was what the fucking bloodline was for 3 years.
Yeah.
So like it serves that wrestling trope, but then also Mark Briscoe is beloved, and is also a champion, while that championship is in another brand, Ring of Honor, not AEW. Every single Ring of Honor champion, except for the women's champion, is on AEW currently, presented in a current AEW storyline. The Ring of Honor champion, the Ring of Honor tag champions,
the only one. Yeah, go ahead, continue.
And the Ring of Honor trios champions, which now kind of are merged with the AEW ones, so they're not really Ring of Honor trios champions anymore.
Correct.
And now, in his return, the pure champion.
Yes, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes here. Yes. And Ryan says, and somehow the Ring of Honor Women's Champ is the best booked one in general. It's almost like splitting them weakens the story. Almost, Ryan. Almost. Athena is literally the only champion in the company that has really stayed away from AEW in totality here. And she is easily the best booked champion in Ring of Honor. Like leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
Better than everybody. And I think Ryan is right. It's almost like splitting them weakens the Ring of Honor side of things, because it's not weakening the AEW product. It's weakening. I don't know how you can have somebody like Mark Briscoe, who's beloved, become your Ring of Honor world champion in this great moment, and then he hasn't been on your show since he's done it. He's been on the other show, which I get it. You own both. It feels like there's no rhyme or reason to any of it, Drew.
The sad truth about Ring of Honor is that it's really an elevated version of AEW Dark.
It's just an afterthought.
It's just I hate saying that. I really do. But it's the truth. And it's what everyone who watches Ring of Honor says.
Yeah.
It's what they present Ring of Honor as. It's matches for the sake of matches, without any other champion but Athena being shown on weekly Ring of Honor television. Like the Ring of Honor brand just has a women's champion, and that's it, because that's the only championship that's shown regularly in Ring of Honor.
Yeah, very bizarre.
Except for pay-per-views.
It's very bizarre. It's very bizarre.
Wheeler Yuta, while it's, we're going to talk about him momentarily, but Wheeler Yuta has been the Ring of Honor Pure Champion for 6 months while he has not been on television. He has not wrestled a single match since August or September of last year.
Yeah.
And
didn't get stripped of the title. No, nothing.
But Adam Copeland got stripped of the TNT Championship
immediately.
Like that doesn't make any sense at all. You're going to have a tournament for the TNT Championship immediately after the champion gets injured. But Wheeler Yuta was off TV for 6 months and was holding that championship up after during this match and after the match that we're going to talk about, like he was on TV the whole time. And there's nothing against Wheeler Yuta, just like it's nothing against Mark Briscoe, because we love them both. They're both amazing wrestlers. They deserve to be. They deserve to be champions. But the title is devalued. And the brand, the Ring of Honor brand, is devalued by presenting it the way it's been presented since Tony Khan bought it and took it over.
Yep.
It just doesn't work the way that he's presenting it. It looks like a second-rate, all mid-carder style, like, brand. It's just it does not one person, as much as I love Eddie Kingston too, not really one person has made, except for Athena.
Yeah, Athena's the only
person.
one.
The only person
I would say
that
Billy
has
Starks. I would say
a
because she's involved with Athena.
well, I mean,
I feel like those two.
as champion.
Yeah.
Like Athena is the only champion that elevates the division that she's in Ring of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
Mark Briscoe does nothing. Wheeler Yuta does nothing.
I don't even know when's the last time that the Kingdom defended on Ring of Honor, and they hopefully they have, because I don't watch Ring of Honor regularly. I'm not going to. I'm not saying these complaints as a regular Ring of Honor viewer. I'm saying these complaints because I've heard them and seen them and talked about them with people who watch Ring of Honor regularly, and I know it's frustrating. I saw Kate last night tweeting about this, saying, "Oh, Mark Briscoe hasn't defended the Ring of Honor World title once or been on the show at all, but now he's qualified and is going for a mid-card AEW title. Like, what is going on?" And I'm just like, I don't know.
It's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate because it's not been. I don't know what Tony Khan wants Ring of Honor to look like, but it's not being presented as a serious company right now.
Yeah. No.
Who is the TV champion? I don't even know who the TV champion is.
Kyle Fletcher, isn't it? No.
Is that Kyle Fletcher?
I think so, right? Is he? I don't know if he still is, but I thought he was. Right? He was, at least. I don't know if he still is. Like I said, I don't watch it regularly, but I'm pretty sure I think it's still him. I think it's still Kyle Fletcher.
I didn't even remember that. But again, of course, I am also not a regular Ring of Honor viewer either.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's still Kyle Fletcher. I'm pretty sure Kyle Fletcher is still the TV champ. Pretty sure.
And when was Kyle Fletcher on Ring of Honor TV last?
Not sure. I know he fought for the title at their last pay-per-view, but I'm not sure on the TV wise. I have no idea.
I stopped buying and watching Ring of Honor pay-per-views.
Yeah.
So I went to last year. I went to a Ring of Honor pay-per-view.
Yep, I didn't go last year, but I went a couple. I saw the 2 out of 3 falls match with FTR and the Briscoes. I was at that one. It was a good one. All right, we had Scapegoat Jack Perry in the back cutting a promo after this match for the TNT Championship. He says that
you want to talk about something that's working, just like the learning tree. Jericho Vortex is working. This Scapegoat shit is working.
Sure is. He says that he's already proven that nobody will sacrifice as much as he will. And he's proven that he won't be stopped. And one way or another, he is the next TNT champion.
I was hoping.
Quick, to the point, but it worked. He is going to be the next TNT champion. He will win this belt in this ladder match, I believe.
So last week when they were just going to give him the championship.
And I love that he went right up to the ropes. He's like, hell yeah. He's like, just give it to me. He's like, I'm ready for it. Let's go.
I was like, I was in my group chat with the roundtable guys. I was like, they're going to give him the fucking championship tonight.
Yeah, they should have.
And then they started to do it. And I'm like, holy fucking shit. They're actually going to do it. They're going to give him the championship. And I was marking out for it. I was like, hell yeah, just fucking give it to him. I think it works. It makes sense. They're the EVPs that get to make decisions like that. And then Christopher Daniels came out and ruined everything. But I was all for it. I was like, hell yeah, give him the fucking title.
Yeah, agreed. Is he officially in the ladder match, or does he still need to qualify? Have they said that?
I think he has to qualify.
Okay. But I would be shocked if anybody but him wins that TNT title. But like you said at the beginning, they are this angle with him. They're crushing it. They're crushing it with him. Then we got backstage. We have Samoa Joe and Hook backstage, and they're getting interviewed, and they are interrupted by Smart Mark Sterling, Tony Nese, and Ari Daivari. They roll up. They taunt Hook about his physique. I think Hook was eating Funyuns. Delicious. Hook was eating Funyuns this time, and Tony Nese says, "What the hell are you doing still eating things like that? Come on, man, like blah, blah, blah." And Hook wants to go after them, but Joe holds him back. And And he says, dogs like them don't talk to killers like us unless they think they're going to get away with it. And he goes, we'll handle this on our own time.
I'm not hating the
Oh, I
Samoa
like it.
Joe
No, I like it.
pairing with him,
Yeah.
but I
like
thought
it.
that this felt like a bit Scrappy-Doo style, like, let me at him. I didn't really like that presentation for Hook,
Okay.
but,
I-
I mean, listen, I'm not shitting on the pairing of them at all. I think that's gonna be amazing. It's already proven that
it should be good.
Looking really cool.
How do you feel about Samoa Joe being in a tag team? Because it feels like they're going to be a tag team.
I don't hate it.
Yeah. I like the angle of Joe, because we all know Joe is a savage killer. And that's kind of how early on they presented Hook to be, like kind of this, hey, I don't care. I'm just going to beat people up and do my shit. And I feel like Joe, like Samoa Joe to me, right? I think Samoa Joe is a better, in the history of their careers, he's a better professional wrestler than Taz. But Samoa Joe has that Taz in him. Like, as somebody who was a big ECW guy when it was first around in the 90s and stuff, like Taz was like this savage that would come out. He'd suplex everybody on the top of their effing head. He'd beat the shit out of people. He wouldn't care. He effed the, like that. What that title wasn't called For the World. That title was called Fuck the World, because that was Taz's character. And Samoa Joe has a little bit of that in him. Like you know what I mean? Like he has that, very suplex, physical, submission-based wrestler like Taz was. He has that same attitude, that F the world, I'm here to get me, I'm going to destroy people and do whatever I can.
Is Taz watching our show right now? Because I just went on Twitter, and he just tweeted Funyuns.
Yeah, maybe.
Taz, if you're watching, we love you.
Yeah, of course. So I like Hook being with Samoa Joe, and I like Samoa Joe being the mentor. Like, hey, man, I was like you when I was younger. I was the guy that just wanted to go at everybody, but like, I'm going to teach you this part of it. I'm going to teach you this part of it. Because you got the physical stuff of it, but you're still young and you don't understand how to, like, you wanted to attack them right there. I've been doing this long enough to know, no. We're not going to do that. We're going to let them say their shit, and then we're going to get them in the ring and we're going to fucking destroy them. And I think that, like, it's more, Joe's there to shape the mind of Hook, to get him to be that stone cold killer that his father was and that Joe is. And I think Hook has the way he wrestles, the way they present him. I think it's a perfect pairing.
But is this not really just going to lead to Samoa Joe doing what every other tag partner of,
I mean, I hope not,
has done?
Can't. And I get it. Like Samoa Joe, he's a heel, I guess. Even though he's cheered every time he comes to the ring, but he's been presented as a heel. I hope not. Like, why can't Joe and Hook be a tag team for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months? And then Samoa Joe just cuts a promo at one point and just goes, hey man, I think you're ready. You can go be a singles guy now. I'm going to go do my thing here. You go do your thing, but I think you're ready.
I'm so used to Joe being a violent, vicious heel that this like new iteration of him is interesting, but it makes me think like, oh, all right, so when is he turning?
And look at, most likely, it's probably going to happen. Most likely, Joe will probably turn on Hook at one point, or vice versa. Who knows? Maybe Joe teaches Hook all his things to the point where Hook becomes a savage and turns on Joe. And he goes, that's what you would have done. I just did it first.
I actually don't hate that.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at Samoa Joe, right? Samoa Joe was teaming with MJF to protect MJF, so he was good for the world title match. But then you found out that Joe was not doing that, and it was all part of the plan to get Joe the belt. And we've seen Samoa Joe. Drew, Lou's back. We've seen. Oh, you coming up this time, bub? Okay. We've seen Samoa Joe to the point where he'll do whatever it takes to win. He'll do whatever it takes to win. And I think that, instead of having the mentality of a lot of fans, like you just said, Drew, is this going to lead to what it always leads to with Joe turning on Hook? I would rather them just not have that. I would rather Joe just eventually just say like, hey, I was kind of a mentor to you. It's been this long. I think you're ready. Go do your thing, young man. That's what I would rather. That's what I would like to happen. However, if you wanted to flip the script a little bit, I do think it would be a kind of cool thing if this was ending with somebody turning and that was the end point. Hey, one of these people is turning on the other. I think it would be kind of cool for Hook to be the one that turns, and his explanation to be like, dude, I learned from you. And the thing that I learned from you is that you were going to do that shit to me if I didn't do it to you first.
I like that a lot.
You were going to do it to me. So I just said, nope, I'm doing it to you first, buddy. And I almost think Samoa Joe's character to me would respect that. You know what I mean? Like he's been like, okay, we're going to fight and I'm going to fuck you up. But I respect that. I respect that because that's who I am.
That. I really like that.
I think that would be like I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think that would be a cool little way to like kind of do the wrestling trope that you always expect with one partner turning on the other, but doing it in a different way. And I think that would be cool. I think that could be a cool thing if that were to happen. Now, it probably won't. And it would make very easy sense for Samoa Joe to just eventually choke Hook out and be like, F you, But I think there's a couple cool ways you can go about it if you wanted to get a little fancy.
But I think that if they did do it that way, like you're saying, I think that Hook should be the one to be the victor.
Yeah. And I think that's a perfect way to put it, man. Hey, man, I get it. I turned on you, whatever. Obviously do it in a Hook way. I turned on you, but like I've been learning from you for the last 5 months. And one of the things that I learned was that if I did not do what I did to you last week, you were going to do it to me. So I did it. And I think that would be cool. All right. We then had the Acclaimed. I kind of like this, Drew.
This, when I tell you, because I said it 1,000 times on this show, deviating from the norm.
Yeah.
This was deviating from the norm.
Yeah. Textbook
definition of deviating from the norm.
This made me care about the Acclaimed for the first time in a long while, Drew. The Acclaimed make their entrance. Max Caster, before he starts rapping, he says this one is dedicated to the Young Bucks. And then we see, as he starts to rap, we see the Young Bucks appear on the Tron behind them, and they say, cut the segment. We're scrapped for time. Cut the segment. Your segment is cut. You guys need to come to the back. And they cut the mic. And then you just see the Acclaimed. The crowd is booing. The crowd is not thrilled. And you see the Acclaimed kind of looking at the Tron, trying to talk in the mic, and they get pissed off, especially Anthony Bones. And they leave, and their segment was cut. It was short. It was sweet, but I liked it. It was different. Like you said, it was different. And this is the type of stuff that they're leaning into with the EVPs, part of the Bucks that I like.
Yeah.
I like this.
This is really good stuff. I love this stuff.
Yep. And then, so I thought this was really good. Then we have backstage, Renee Paquette welcomes Swerve Strickland. He talks about how Roderick Strong, the video they showed earlier, he was talking about climbing mountains. He goes, and Swerve says, well, I am the mountain. He said, I am the AEW heavyweight champion. I am the mountain, and I'm going to bury you under it tonight. And then he said, hey, and also, he was talking about Anarchy in the Arena. And he says, next time you guys are doing a Team AEW thing and or next time you're doing an Anarchy in the Arena and there's a Team AEW getting assembled, don't forget about the AEW World Champion because this is his house. So he kind of teased a little bit, which makes me think that maybe not Anarchy in the Arena, but it makes me think maybe we might get a Team AEW versus Team Elite Blood and Guts maybe or something like that. And maybe Swerve will be on Team AEW. I think that's what that was kind of leaning to.
I was thinking of a Team Elite, Team AEW Blood and Guts thing.
Yeah, so they could do that, and Swerve will be the captain of Team AEW apparently, or at least it seems like he wants to be.
I think that could be the All Out.
That would be cool because if you wanted, because you're doing All In, and then you have All Out a couple weeks after that. I think that would be a good little main event of All Out if you wanted to do a Blood and Guts match and you did Team AEW versus Team Elite.
Yeah.
I think that'd be fun. I think that would be fun. Oh, Lou almost just tried to bite me, dude. Living dreams.
Mhm.
We then got a video package, as we found out, which you mentioned earlier, that Mercedes Moné versus Stephanie, hopefully I say the name right, Vaquer? Is that how you say it? Vaquer?
I think it's Vaquer.
Vaquer, all right. They are having a title for title match, which you mentioned earlier at Forbidden Door, so there was a little video package for them. Then we had ourselves an 8-man tag match. It was the Blackpool Combat Club, the full assembly of the Blackpool Combat Club for the first time in 4 or 5 months. It was Bryan Danielson. It was Claudio Castagnoli, Jon Moxley, and the returning from injury Wheeler Yuta. Very good to see Wheeler Yuta out there. Very, very good to see.
I mean, technically, it's been longer
than that. 6 months, yeah, 5 or 6 months.
Even when they were all, healthy, they were not all in a match together like this. It was like branched out with like Claudio and Wheeler and Moxley was doing his own thing and Danielson was doing his own thing. It was never really all 4 of them in a match. Maybe one other time.
Yeah,
they've had a match together.
Yeah. Lou's starting to be a little jerk down there on the wires. And they were going against some CMLL individuals. Magnus. Oh God, hopefully I say this right. Rugido and Volador Jr. And then Esfinge. I don't know. I always get nervous when I have to pronounce these names because I don't want to butcher them.
I believe it's Esfinge. Yeah.
Esfinge, right? Esfinge and Los Despertadores, which was Magnus, Rugito, and Volador Jr.
Listen, we're both white people. We're just going to
I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best. I thought, an 8-man tag, this was good. The CMLL guys got to show off their skills with hitting their kind of high-flying moves and stuff like that. I thought they looked very good in this match. We know what we're getting with the BCC. And I thought it was very good. Wheeler Yuta ends up getting the pinfall victory here in his first comeback. Claudio lifted him up on his shoulders afterwards, which I thought was nice. You could tell Wheeler Yuta kind of rolled his eyes as Claudio was starting to do it. He was like, come on. But they kind of gave Wheeler Yuta his heroic return welcome. I thought this was a solid much deserved. I thought this was a solid 8-man. I would assume everyone knew the BCC was going to win this, but I thought they did a really good job of making the CMLL guys look really good in it. Wheeler Yuta comes back. He gets the return. He gets the pinfall victory for the BCC. Overall, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, the match was fine.
It's fine. Yeah, it's what you would expect from an 8-man,
I feel like a lot of the CMLL matches that I've seen since they started integrating into AEW has been like, hey, I'm going to sit here and wait for the spot to happen. And then I'm going to sit here and wait for this spot to happen. Like when I was watching this match, like there was a point where, Bryan Danielson gets sent into the second rope, for the 619 spot. And he's just like parked there for 3 seconds. Just like waiting for it to happen. And like then the spot where 2 of the CMLL guys were going out to the ring to take out Moxley and Claudio. And they're just like standing around waiting for it to happen a little bit. It's like that kind of takes me out of it a little bit.
It's fair.
But I mean, everybody in the match is way more athletic than me, so I applaud them for being able to do the things that they do. Even if they're waiting for the spot, they're still doing the spot anyway, and it's a hell of a lot more athleticism than I have.
Yeah, I agree. We then had a very good Daniel Garcia video package. We talked about his independent runs. He talked about that bad car accident he had a handful of years ago, where he broke both his legs, and there was thought that he might never walk again, let alone wrestle. I thought they talked about that really well. They talked about how that kind of makes him appreciate the moments he has and being able to get out there and wrestle and kind of do what he does. And I thought it was a really, really good babyface video package for Daniel Garcia.
This was one of the best video packages AEW has ever done.
Yeah, I thought it was really well done. I thought it was really, really well done.
And the car accident was how I got to know Daniel Garcia, because I didn't know of him before then.
Yeah.
And it was like a big night on Twitter. Everybody was talking about this horrible car accident that almost took the lives of a couple of wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
And just hearing about the story of it, like, I really got to know Kevin Bennett from that, Kevin Blackwood from that.
Yeah, Kevin Blackwood. Yep.
That really got me like interested in them, and so I've known Daniel Garcia since then, and to see him, performing in the way that he does is outstanding, and I want all the best things in the world for him.
Yeah, I agreed, and I think we're going to get him. I think we're going to get him. We then have the Young Bucks. They're kind of security is separating the Acclaimed from getting into the Young Bucks locker room, and the Acclaimed is yelling at them. Specifically, Anthony Bowen is like, "No, we just want to let you know that you're going to have to deal with us eventually, and you can't hide behind your security guards." So they were like, "Have a good rest of the show." And I think Anthony Bowen's called them jackasses or something like that. And you could tell the Young Bucks were kind of like, yeah. So it seems like we're going to be getting a Young Bucks Acclaimed program for the tag titles, which honestly, I'm not against.
No, this
I know
version
people
of them for sure.
Yeah, I know people feel a certain way about the Acclaimed, and like I don't disagree with how they've kind of slowed down tremendously here. But I think a tag team program 2-on-2 with the Bucks, I think that's something that could get the people caring about the Acclaimed again. Whether they end up breaking up afterwards or whatever, I do think that I'm intrigued to see the Acclaimed go after the Young Bucks a little bit.
So initially when they were doing the trios feud with the Bang Bang Gang, I was saying, I think Max Caster is going to turn heel and join the Bang Bang Gang, because his personality, his like heel personality, kind of fits with with that group.
Yep.
I got to tell you, I think he'd fit in better with the Elite.
Maybe. You never know.
But I'm not saying that's not going to happen. I think if Max Caster turns, he's probably just going to be by himself. But
yeah.
I think that it's going to happen eventually. I think it's going to happen this year at some point.
Yeah, I agree.
Max has quietly been improving in a lot of ways, and his physique, like he dropped some weight and gained some muscle, and he went back to his heel like mustache that he was doing. Which, listen, I'm about to go against the grain and probably get a lot of hate right now, especially from the LGBTQ community. I don't like mustaches on guys. I don't think it's a good look. It's not attractive to me. I'm saying mustache only. Like
Fair.
Full beard, fine. The mustache look from the 70s, the porn stash thing.
I feel like that's coming back though.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I feel like the mustache, as a bearded gentleman who's been a bearded gentleman for like 15 years, I feel like just the lone mustache look is coming back. It's been back for a little bit, but I think it's like fully. I'm seeing a lot more of it lately.
I don't like it. It's just not for me.
All right, it's fair.
It's not.
I'm seeing a lot more of just the mustache, and I'm like, all right, man. All right.
I'm sorry. I know my fellow gays probably want to throw their pitchforks at me and light me on fire, but
you like what you like. You like what you like.
I gotta say, just not a fan of the mustache.
Not everybody's into it. Not everybody likes beards. Not everybody likes clean cut, clean shaven people. Whatever. You like what you like. I just have noticed over the last, year and a half, 2 years, that I'm starting to see more lone mustaches in the world. And I feel like 5 or 6 years ago, there would be a certain type of jokes that would come along if you were just having a mustache like that. But it seems to be the new in thing. So I don't know. Whatever.
Hippie thing.
Yep. We then see Christian Cage with the Young Bucks in their in the dressing room. He says that he would like another title shot to make up for the fact that he got screwed at Double or Nothing. The Matthew specifically, but the Young Bucks say, hey, they agree, and if they could, they would hand him another championship. They'd hand out belts to everybody in the patriarchy, just like they were trying to do with Jungle Boy last week before Christopher Daniels got involved. He said, look, we're going to see what we can do, but things are a little hectic right now, but let's keep continuing this business arrangement and let's keep scratching each other's back. They all shake hands. And it looks like the patriarchy and the Young Bucks and the Elite will still be kind of maybe working together here moving forward. So we'll have to see kind of where that goes. I don't hate it either.
I like that the you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Correct.
Thing that the Young Bucks are doing with the heels right now. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And what also is working is that they're not just saying that they're EVPs and being called EVPs, but they're shown as like calling the show as it's happening. Like in this, it's like, all right, next segment. You know, like they're doing like it's like they're calling the show and producing the show.
It's like they're running it. And like, you have the segment with you have the segment with the Acclaimed earlier where they cut it. What was it, like a couple months ago when they were feuding with, they cut the FTR vignette, they cut it right in the middle. And they were like, no, we're good. We're moving on. They changed the intro to just have them and the Elite on it.
Yeah.
Like
that was so good.
Yeah. That type of stuff. I like how they are actually like coming off as if they're running the show, which is fun. We then had ourselves, I'm going to tell you what, it's been a while since we've seen Saraya in the ring. And this was a good little match I thought she had with Mariah May here. We had a match with Mariah May versus Saraya. Saraya was joined by Harley Cameron and her brother Zach Knight at ringside. Tony Storm was on commentary, and that played into this. We talked about it a little bit earlier. I saw a lot of discourse on the social medias and the IWC, people complaining because Saraya beat Mariah May in this match. And she beat her with that scorpion crosslock submission that we have come to know that she does. But more importantly, Drew, the story that was being told here was Mariah May continuously helps Tony Storm win her matches. Continuously.
Yeah.
Tony Storm is at commentary. Mariah May is getting outpersoned at ringside. Luther is out there. But it's basically 3-on-1 here with Harley Cameron and Zach Knight. And, and at the end of the match, Saraya has this scorpion crosslock on Mariah May in the middle of the ring. And Mariah May is openly looking at Tony Storm at commentary. And she's looking at her going, are you going to come in here and help me? Are you going to help me? And Tony sat at that table and she let Mariah May lose.
Like she does every time?
Yes. And that is part of the story. I saw so many, to the point where I saw Phil Lindsay, who we all love. He was fighting with people last night on social media about this. I saw people on social media going, I can't believe they had Mariah May lose to Saraya when Saraya never wrestles. I can't believe they did this. Why are you doing this? Why are you burying Mariah May? This makes no sense. Why would she lose this? And I'm sitting there and I'm going, are you paying attention to the story? Are you paying attention to the story? The story is Mariah May helps Tony all the time, but Tony doesn't help Mariah at all. At all. That's the story. So Mariah May losing to Saraya makes sense. And it makes sense in the way they did it because Mariah May was literally staring at Tony, basically saying with her eyes, come help me. And Tony didn't. And that's part of this story. And then after the match, Tony does get in there, but Harley Cameron attacks and they're beating him down. Luther is being held back by Zach Knight. And then we see Mina Shirakawa come out and she makes the save. And Mina Shirakawa will be fighting Tony Storm at Forbidden Door for that AEW Women's Championship. But this segment after the match ends with the three of them basically in each other's bosoms. There was a lot of a lot of
very sexual.
Yeah, it was a very. It was. I want to say this properly. There was a lot of boob stuff going on. They were grabbing. They had heads on chest. There was a lot of stuff going on here in this segment, Drew. Afterwards, it's a lot of sexual tension, I will say, between the three of them, really.
Yeah,
which I'm not against.
Yeah, it started with Mina and.
Well, Mina and Mariah have had a thing, right?
Yes. They've all
they had a thing on Stardom, right? This was something that goes back to their Stardom days. Right. I didn't watch Stardom,
which I don't know either.
No, and they've kissed, they've kind of shared champagne, kissed a little bit. Now, and Tony really has always had that sexual kind of thing to her promos and the way she treats Mariah. They're kind of sexual. Yes. So but it seemed like
Mina gets in the ring and Tony Storm, and then they're chest bumping with each other. And then Mariah gets in the middle and just grabs both of their heads and puts them to her chest.
Yes. But then Tony Storm's almost there was a lot of stuff going on.
And then Mariah is on her knees in between the two of them.
Yes.
And it's the sexual look of this is just out of control.
Yes. Yes.
Out of control.
Yeah. Yep. So I think, at Forbidden Door, I think Mariah May is going to be a little torn here, Drew. Which side is she going to be on? Is she going to stay loyal to Tony? Or is she going to go with the person that's being presented as a love interest?
I don't know if you saw
this. Where does she go?
But on Twitter this morning,
I did not see it.
She responded to a Tony Khan tweet of this match at Forbidden Door, saying that she also wanted to be in the background of Mina's image too, not just Tony Storm's. And Tony Storm's and Tony Khan said, "Consider it done." Wow. So the next time you see the graphic for that match,
she's going to be
Mariah May is going to be behind both of them. It's like, whose side is she on? It's difficult, and you cannot tell from the way that they've been presented on TV whose side she's on.
No, you can't. So intriguing little mini storyline here to look out for, because the Mariah May Tony Storm thing, I mean, we've been talking about it for a while. We know eventually that's going to lead to a breakup and a match between those two. But now you got this Shirakawa person who is really, I mean, it looks like Mariah is as interested in her as she is with Tony. So it's very intriguing to see where they go here with that. All right, let's dive into this, because right before our main event segment, we had a backstage promo with Bryan Danielson. I have my notes. He says he talked about what a blessing it was to see Wheeler Yuta come back from 4 months off and get the big win. He talks about how he said 8 months ago he was only going to do another year, but with 4 months left, it hasn't been what he wanted it to be. He missed a chance at the TNT title. He lost the Continental Classic. He lost to Okada, and every big match he's in, he loses and loses and loses. And there's more to this promo, but Drew, I fucking love that he said it, because we've been talking about it forever, that he's losing all these big matches. And I'm glad that during this that he specifically mentioned that. That made me happy. He said that the straw that broke the camel's back was losing Anarchy in the arena. He said he was real down about it, and he talked to Wheeler about how fired up he was that he was coming back, and he realized that this year ain't over yet. And he said once he found out that the winner of the Owen Hart tournament gets a title match at All In, he got fired up one more time. And he said it might be his last shot, but it's his best shot, and he's going to go out on top. So this tells me that Bryan Danielson's going to be in that Owen Hart tournament, and he's going to try to win it and get that title match at All In. I know that you have been clamming. No pun intended. You see what I did there? I know that you have been clamming for Bryan Danielson.
Oh, Nigel McGuinness.
Yes. I know that you have said, and you're not alone, but I know that you have said that, hey, I'm happy that we're getting to see this guy do what he's doing, but it would feel wrong if he was never AEW World Champion.
Can we pull up Zach's comment again from earlier?
Yeah, so Zach said a comment where he said, TK going to drag Danielson into a title reign whether he wants it or not.
Bryan Danielson, you're my GOAT, and I love you so much. Having said that, Tony Khan, you put a motherfucking title on this guy already. I don't care. I do not give a shit what Bryan Danielson wants here, okay? This man needs to have a title in this company. He needs to have give him the fucking FTW title at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He needs a title. It's absolutely insane that he has been in this company for almost 3 years.
Yep.
And has not held a single title.
Yep.
Not a tag title, not a trios title, not a singles title.
Yep.
Nothing. That is promotional malpractice. It is promotional malpractice. And I thought I was at the show where it was going to happen. I thought that the title was going to change from Moxley to Danielson at the second Grand Slam 2022. I thought it was going to happen then. It was the main event of the show. I was like, oh my God, is it really going to happen? Am I about to watch him win this title? It didn't happen. He didn't win against MJF.
Yep.
He didn't win against Christian Cage. He didn't win against somebody else. I forgot who. I think he may have even mentioned it in the promo. Oh, Okada. He didn't win against Okada.
He didn't beat Okada. Yep. Continental Classic he mentioned as well.
He didn't beat Eddie Kingston when the title was on the line. He hasn't beat anyone in a big match, like he said in the promo.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to happen. It's got to happen. And you know what? Maybe, I mean, I don't want it to be this way, but maybe the way that it happens is the same way that Sting's last match happened. Maybe he goes out winning a championship and then retires afterwards and vacates it. Which kind of sucks because I'd love to see him with a championship for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, and also, I mean, in that case, it would be Danielson versus Swerve at All In.
Mm-hmm. Well, if Swerve is the champion, if Swerve is the champion, which we assume he probably will be.
I'm assuming,
yeah. We assume he probably will be, but yeah, it would be. I mean, well, first and foremost, he would have to go through the Owen, which you would have to assume, even though we don't know all the participants yet, him having that promo last night would probably thrust him to the favorite to win it. But yeah, he's going to go through the Owen. He's going to figure that out. And then it seems like, yeah, he would get the title match at All In. And I mean,
winning the Owen isn't good enough for me.
It's fair.
I need a title. I need a title. This man is he's my favorite. Mm-hmm. He's legitimately my favorite. And I want to respect his wishes.
I think we're not respecting his wishes by doing this, to be honest with you.
I can't do it. I can't respect his wishes. He needs to win a title. He needs to win a title. I can't respect your wishes, Brian. I'm sorry. It will be insane for you to not have a title in your last year. Get the title at All In. Go to Wrestle Dream. Drop the title there and retire. If that's what you want to do. Just give me 2 months. 2 months for the title, please.
We'll have to see. This led into our main event of the evening. It was for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. It was the champion Swerve Strickland defending against Roderick Strong, who was accompanied to the ring by the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, the Kingdom. As you would expect, Drew, hell of a main event here. This was a good one. we all know how much we all love Swerve. Roderick Strong is so damn good in that ring, man. He is so damn good in that ring. He's been really damn good in that ring for a long time, and now he's doing his best character work, in my opinion, that I've seen him do in his whole career. Roderick Strong is as good a total package as there is in pro wrestling right now, and him and Swerve had an absolute banger of a main event here. It was so good. The Kingdom does get involved a little bit, as you would expect, but Swerve is able to fight him off, and at the end of it, he hits a house call, and he gets the pinfall victory and retains in a battle where at times it was 3-on-1. It was 3-on-1, but Swerve, being the good champion, the hard fighting champion he is, he pulls a victory out with the house call, and he retains the world title, and the show ends with him celebrating with the crowd. And that's how Dynamite goes off the air. What'd you think of this main event, Drew, with Roddy and Swerve?
It was a really fantastic main event. And one of his other criticisms too is like, oh, what is this company doing with Swerve right now? I've seen that 100 times, 1,000 times. Like that they're not treating Swerve as a legitimate champion. The man is in main events for pay-per-views. He's in main event of Dynamite.
Yeah. The week that he won the title, I know it was a few months ago, he wrestled at the pay-per-view. Then he defended his belt. No, he wrestled on Dynamite, and then he defended his belt on Collision that same week. I want to say that this is at least his second, but I want to say it's the third time he maybe has even defended this title on regular television. Like he's going to all these movie premieres. He's going to these TV show premieres. He's going to these hip hop big time deals. I don't know if you listen to his podcast, but he is so articulate and such a great mind for the wrestling business. Like, I think that
I've heard a few of his podcasts. Yeah.
I feel like Swerve is knocking it out of the park right now as the champion.
Yeah.
I don't understand where I'm seeing this slew of people that are saying that like he's not doing enough or he's not. I think he's crushing it right now in all aspects as the world champion.
Yeah, agreed. And this match continues to prove that. And like, you talked how highly you regard Roderick Strong, and I agree. I mean, he is a phenomenal wrestler, and this new iteration of him, from the Next Strong thing to now, has been a joy to watch. It really has. So, and I thought the way this match came about was interesting too. It was like, hey, I was just like a big champion in this company, and I didn't get to be in the match to get the opportunity even. Like the opportunity was taken from him because the match was won. That really unique casino gauntlet match. The match was won before I could even go out there and wrestle. So
I also liked how Roddy was like, and I want to get back at Will Ospreay. And the easiest or not easiest, but the quickest way for me to do that, he goes, is I'll have to win the world heavyweight title from Swerve now. And then I'll get my revenge on Ospreay as the world champion. So I like that too. How he's still in the back of his mind is like, no. I still need to go after Will because he beat me for my title. But I understand I can't go for that title right away since I just lost it. So guess what? I'm going to go this route. And I'll win the world title from Swerve next week. And then I'll be able to fight Ospreay again and get my revenge. I like that little aspect of it too.
It was very well done.
Yeah.
So, the match was great. And of course, celebrating with that lovely grandmother at the
at the front row, the older woman that was in the front row. Love it. Love it. Love it.
This was the week for grandmas.
I was going to say there was an older woman in the front row of Raw.
I almost thought it was the same woman at first.
I know. I was like, oh man, there's like, grandmothers. And I love seeing that. When NXT used to be at Full Sail, they had that old couple that used to sit in the front row. It was like an older husband and wife.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I'm just like, damn, when I see old people at wrestling, like older people like that, I'm like, that's the coolest shit ever. Because they probably have liked this stuff for 50 years. And they're just like, hell yeah. I remember going as a kid. I used to go to the house shows at the Boston Garden, and one of them specifically, it was a young Shawn Michaels, like when he first turned on Marty Jannetty, like that mid-90s heel boy toy Shawn Michaels, IC champ heel Shawn Michaels, and he was fighting, and an old woman in the crowd like walked up to the guardrail and was yelling at Shawn Michaels. And this was a house show, so no cameras. She was yelling at Shawn Michaels, and Shawn Michaels, playing it up, kind of got out of the ring, went to a couple times. He would be barking at her, and she was yelling and pointing at him. And then later on in the match, she was doing it again, and he actually walked to the guardrail, and he was, obviously it's fake to an extent, but she's pointing at him, yelling, and he's yelling at her back, and she chucked him the finger. And the whole fucking arena went nuts. And then he turned around, and I forget who he was fighting, maybe Diesel. They had just broken up or something. And Shawn Michaels, she chucked the finger to Shawn Michaels, and he did like an over dramatization and was like, oh, and was like shocked or whatever that he did. And he turned around, and Diesel just whacked her. And then Diesel high-fived the old woman. And that was like the best moment of the show.
That's awesome.
And
there's another like famous television moment with an old person and somebody. I don't know if it was Shawn Michaels or was it Hulk. Oh, it was Hulk Hogan when he was in the NWO. I think there was an old person that was like taunting him, and they were going back and forth.
It's the best. It's the best. All right, Drew. I mean, we really only talked about Dynamite, which again, last week's Collision was really, now that we're on Thursdays, I think we're going to start every show with Dynamite because Dynamite is the A show. And then if anything of importance happened on Collision, we will obviously go through that. But we spent the whole hour and a half. I mean, I know we talked about kind of the recap up to this point.
Yeah.
Of last night.
Double or Nothing also.
So. Yeah, exactly. So we definitely are looking forward to staying here on Thursdays. It was really good talking about Dynamite when it was kind of fresh. Because, on the Sundays, Dynamite is already 3 or 4 days old. So it's kind of like, so I feel like moving to Thursdays and talking about Dynamite fresh the day after will be a lot of fun.
It's refreshing. If I may say.
Yeah. But that's going to be it for us today. So we will be at this time slot from here on out. So every Thursday morning at 10 a.m., you can find us here on youtube.com/lovewrestlingca for all the AEW talk here on Firmly AEW. But Drew, let the people know where they can find you, what you got coming up the rest of the week. And then I'll do my thing and we will get out of here for the day.
You can find me on Twitter at @DrewNicholas, as it says underneath my name. And wow, it's been so long since we've done this on a Thursday. I have other things to plug for the rest of the week. I know. Join us on the Roundtable Pro Wrestling Podcast every Friday night. I don't get to talk about this usually, but now I get to talk about it. We do a really cool show called Really Awful Wrestling, where we watch bad wrestling and bad promos and just make fun of everything. And it's a great time. It's a real great time. Come join us on Friday night after SmackDown. And yeah, that's it for me.
All right. You can find me in just about 8 short hours. Thursdays now has turned back into JPJ Day here at Love Wrestling. So
the best day of the week.
Yeah, it is the best day of the week. It's JPJ Day. So you can find me here now, once again, every morning at 10 a.m. on Thursdays for Firmly AEW with this lovely gent here, Drew. And then you always know you can find me every Thursday night at 8 p.m. for the flagship here at Love Wrestling. And that is Between Two Beards with Pluggo. However, tonight, Pluggo will not be joining me because he has a child that is graduating high school tonight.
Oh,
so congrats to Pluggo's child. I think it's his son. His oldest son. Don't quote me on that. But congratulations to Pluggo's kid who's graduating high school tonight. But Pluggo's going to be being a good dad at graduation, celebrating his kid. So I have the great Tanner Lee from the Kicking Out Pod, who's been on our show a few times. Pluggo and I were actually on his show this past Sunday on the Kicking Out Pod podcast. That was a lot of fun. So he's going to be joining me. We have the hour tonight because there is a giant episode of Quizplex tonight as well. I'm going to show this right now, Drew. I'm going to show a graphic. You ready?
Ooh, yeah.
We have Alex Mays. We have Sexy Eddie. And the third contestant, which was announced Little Mean Kathleen making her return to Quizplex tonight. So those are the 3 participants that will be after Between Two Beards starting at 9:00 tonight here on Love Wrestling. So, tonight, come for beards. Check out me and Tanner. We'll be talking about NXT Battleground. We'll be talking a little WWE and stuff like that.
I also I noticed a little new thing to this layout underneath.
There is a new thing
box.
to the layout. Yes. So NordVPN, they are our new friends. So if the wrestling fans, especially wrestling fans, now with AEW having 10 or 11 pay-per-views a year now, $50 a pop is can be a little taxing financially for some people. If you were to go to our friends NordVPN, sign up for them, you could kind of say that you're from anywhere in the world and maybe not pay $50 a month for a pay-per-view. Just saying. They have the top security of all VPNs in the world. I'm just saying, you might want to go over to NordVPN and check them out. They are our new friends. They're our new affiliates here at Love Wrestling. So you'll see their little icon on all our streams and stuff like that. So you should go NordVPN, even if you just want it for more security on your PC or laptop or just your internet in general. More security. They have the best security. You're traveling. You want to have your home Wi-Fi so you can have everything that you're used to on the road. NordVPN allows you to do that. For us wrestling fans, you want to save a little bit of money. Location things on there, you can say you're from anywhere and save yourself a couple buckaroos here or there as well. So go check out our friends at NordVPN. You will not regret it. You will not regret it. But that's going to do it here for Drew and I. We appreciate you all tuning in as we return to Thursdays this week. And you guys know the drill by now. Until next week, next Thursday at 10 a.m., Drew and I will see you later. Peace out.
Peace out.